Mr. Ackerman, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Good to have you here today. I have, we tend to be focusing very specifically on Freddie and Fannie, and yet when you look at the housing downturn, it's been global. But the problem I have is I don't think we're looking at the problem in the marketplace. And we keep talking about Freddie and Fannie's default and the failures they've had and the money they've lost. As I see it, the GSE's, Fannie's seriously delinquent loans are about 4.2%. That's not a good number. Freddie's about 3.1%. That's not a good number. Subprime ARMs seriously delinquent that are not agency loans, 38.7%. Subprime loans seriously delinquent, non-agency, 26.5%. Even in your prime loans, private sector loans, seriously delinquent is 5.4%. There's a problem here. Now, we're shining a light on Freddie and Fannie, but we're not saying there's something seriously structurally wrong with the entire market. Now, looking at all the numbers I've seen, you keep talking about your affordable housing goals. Well, Freddie and Fannie in 98 and 2000 basically started trying to compete with the private sector, became very lenient in their underwriting standards to raise their percentage of the marketplace. It was like a race to the bottom. Yet, if you look today, they're outperforming the marketplace, and they're basically performing their goal. They're providing liquidity in a stressed marketplace. FHA, VA, Freddie, Fannie, 92% of the market. We're not addressing the problem. The loans you're making today through Freddie and Fannie are performing very well. Yet the loans that are performing the best in high-cost areas you're wanting to completely eliminate. So let's eliminate the high-cost areas which people likely are able to perform in and just take that sector out. Now, my concern is we're saying we're going to bring the private sector dollars into the marketplace. Where were they at in 2005, 2006 when the market was heated up? You had Countrywide selling junk to the marketplace. The only bundle of securities you have out there that are any good are the GSEs. All those mortgage-backed securities by the private sector are worthless in many cases. So we're not addressing the serious problems in the housing industry. We're saying we're going to get the government out. But another problem I have is when the TARP funds were issued to the private sector, you charge 5%. You're charging Freddie and Fannie 10%. Are they paying it?
Well, as you know, in a sense, it's
my
one
question
hand
is,
of
why
the
would we
government.
charge them double if we're trying to not create more of a problem than we're charging anybody else? Now, we're not paying 10% for money, the Treasury.
That's
when
right.
you sell notes, you're paying very low. Yet you're saying Freddie and Fannie is seriously distressed today. So let's charge them 10% interest on the money we forward to them. How much sense does that make?
Well, if it makes you feel better, in effect, the taxpayer is paying that.
Okay.
It's one hand paying the other.
But you're going to get the money back from them.
No, we're as I said, we are not going to recover fully the amount of investments the taxpayer put in this. It's not possible. But it's going to be substantially lower than anybody really feared.
What do you think it will be? What would you?
Well, in the budget, we estimated somewhere around $75 billion, but that doesn't take account of the fact that we're going to raise the guarantee fees gradually over time. So it'll be less than that. But that is an extraordinary amount of money.
You're going to say $75 billion, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
If Freddie and Fannie had not been there in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, what kind of a hit do you think housing values would have in this country when there was nobody to make the loans? Because you can't tell me the private sector was there because they're not.
I don't think we're disagreeing as much as you think. You're absolutely right.
You're talking trillions of dollars.
I completely agree with you. It would have been much, much more devastating than anything we face. Much more devastating.
If you got 65.1% of all the taxpayers in this country own a home, and we allowed the values of their home to go down by trillions of dollars.
I agree with you completely.
Who's getting hurt worse?
I agree with you completely. That's why I say that as you examine the future options, be careful to make sure you preserve some capacity for the government.
Why don't you give us
to protect the economy and the innocent victims from the kind of crisis we went through?
You have to have the numbers. Why don't you go back and tell us what year they started to make the loans that had a higher propensity of default rates and why that occurred?
You got it right.
I looked at Freddie and Fannie. They ratcheted up in 98, 99, and specifically 2000, completely ratcheted down their underwriting standards. Those two went different directions. This did not have to occur.
It did not have, it
And
was
it did.
preventable, and they
Would you
followed the
please-
market down. I agree with you. They
Would
chased
you-
the market down.
Before we make a huge mistake, would you get us the data that says why they went wrong and when and where, so we can analyze the problem rather than throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Because Fannie lost money in '85. Freddie never lost a dime in their history till recently. Let's go and find out why they lost money rather than just saying they're the bad guy when they're outperforming the rest of the marketplace.
don't-
I'd love to have
Right.
an hour to talk to you.
Don't let them off the hook.
Thank you.
Because they made a lot of mistakes, and they did not
Huge.
hold capital against those losses, and Congress made it possible for that to happen. And
And their
although they were a
affordable
little better
housing
than
goals
Let me, your
caused it.
time has expired, but Mr. Sherman, thank you.